it's Daybreak on the Rise News, and it's time for the press preview. First look at what's on the front pages of the papers. Kechi, I think you should start with this day. Well, I tried to get it out here.
Let's begin with this day. Our sister publication, its leading headline, it says the ACF, that's the Arewa Consultative Forum. Two Southern leaders, enough of blackmail, North not afraid of breakup. The writer there says, threat over zoning unacceptable. You can read that story on page 5. Leading photo here, well, one of the photos in front of the This Day newspaper with the caption, I am ready. It shows Senator Alindume and the Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, displaying his presidential form at the party secretariat yesterday. And just above that ACF headline is another photo that was yesterday while the Senator Amosu was declaring contest for the APC presidential ticket here in Abuja. And beside that, it says INEC reminds parties of deadlines, says they have till June 3rd to conduct primaries. Above the nameplate of This Day this morning, a big one. UK makes U-turn, recognizes IPOB as terrorist group excluded from asylum. That's on page 46.
Yes, indeed. Let's look at the Nation newspaper. ACF Arewa consult the foreign leaders. South should stop issuing threats over zoning. It has a writer there, it's president or nothing, says Ohaneze. That's quite interesting. It's president or nothing. That's what Ohaneze Ndibo is saying. All right, you look at the top mass there. OPEC raises Nigeria's production capacity to, I think that's 19,000 barrels per day. And this will be interesting news for those who transport themselves from Abuja to Kaduna on the train. Abuja-Kaduna train service set to resume. No NIN, no ticket. That's interesting. If you don't have your NIN, you won't get a ticket. All right, payment of helicopter landing fee begins Monday. Senator Bashir leads Oyetola's re-election campaign. That's for the Nation newspaper.
Let's take a look at what The Guardian is leading with this morning. It says, Buhari in Ebonyi. Igbo leaders demand Southeast presidency and Kanu's release.
All right, let's now to the foreign papers. Let's look at one or two of the foreign papers. Financial Times. Musk enlists Ellison, Saudi prince, and Binance to back Twitter bid. All right, I'm hearing that the director doesn't have that paper. Like I said again, let me just say that Musk enlists Ellison, Saudi prince, and Binance to back Twitter bid. That's coming from the Financial Times.
Okay, if we have Emmanuel Bello joins us now from our offsite studio. Emmanuel, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Let's take a look at some stories making the headlines this morning on the papers. This day says the Arewa Consultative Forum talking to Southern leaders. They say enough is enough. No more blackmail, and the North is not afraid of a breakup. They're speaking about what they call a threat over zoning, and they say that's unacceptable. Emmanuel, what's your thought?
Well, good morning. Yes, the Arewa Consultative Forum is pushing back. You remember that most of last week and some of this week too has been, those agitations, and we saw headlines after headlines with Southern leaders using very strong terms like if you bury zoning, you are burying Nigeria, power must shift. With even some of the leaders saying that if you don't accept, the Southeast leader saying that if you do not accept an Igbo presidency, it's a it's a clarion call for them to move away. You are rejecting them. You are saying that they are not part of this of the country. So those kind of strong terms that using resonated with the ACF, and ACF is pushing back now, saying that look, we're tired of the threats and we're tired of the blackmail. and you cannot continuously use very strong words to say. And they pointed out some things. They said, look, these same people have always said that the dot does not have those numerical strength that they've not considered to agree that the North has the power, the number on its side to help, produce or to produce any president, that they've not considered. But now they are crying wolf and saying that, look, and they came out to say, look, there must be some form of understanding that the North has got this power. They even noted in that statement yesterday that the North has provided all the food and that's sent to the South and all of that. Some of these are not very new things that Northerners like to say about their numerical strength, about the fact that they've got certain things going for the country and that they've brought a lot to the table. That is always the retort when the rest of the country say, look, you are consumers, you don't produce anything. They say, no, that's not true. When you look at the sort of things that we send to the South, the meat, the beans, the onions, and all that, they point to those things. They say, look, that comes from the North, and that you have to recognize the strengths and the power of the North in all of this. So that's the kind of pushback you get from the North. But quite frankly, if you ask me, my opinion, I would say that, look, the South, they call for South presidency, or for even the Igbo presidency, is anchored on what a lot of people believe is just and fair. And if the North has provided sterling leadership, qualitative leadership, exemplary leadership, or a historic leadership, maybe these agitations will not be as loud as this. It's not the first time that people have called for power shift, but this time around, it's becoming really, really emotional. And beyond emotional, it's almost becoming, the president was told to his face yesterday when he visited Igbo and said that, look, it's either Igbo presidency, it's either power shift or nothing. This is the first time perhaps we're getting this kind of really, really strong worded calls for power shift. And I have suspect that it's because the North has not been able to provide the kind of leadership it's supposed to provide. The banditry, the kidnapping, and all the other things that are associated with this part of the country have actually energized a lot of people to say there's been a serious failure in leadership and that it is time to try something new. Never before have we seen this kind of really serious outcry that power should shift now. So, and if you anchor it on development, on what has been happening and the things that have been happening, you'll find out that there's some sort of justification to say power must shift. But the Arewa Consulting Forum saying that even if that's going to happen, it shouldn't come via blackmail, threats, and telling it that, look, they can break away. And look, the North can do without anyone now. Is the North flexing its muscles and saying that, look, it cannot be twisted into, letting go power?
Well, if you say North has not provided leadership, it's not only the North, Emmanuel, that has ruled this nation over the years. Nigeria seems to have had a leadership problem. So if you hang it on the North or the North, I don't know whether you'll be particularly right there. But aside that, they provided details, of their strength, which are facts. But now, let me ask you this. This is Nigeria. Playing the politics we're playing now, the way things are going now, does it even augur well for the polity of the entire nation? Any whichever way you want to look at it, with the bricks back, left, right, and center, on this kind of politics, what does it take Nigeria to?
Well, look, we spoke about this with you yesterday. It's sometimes some of the rhetorics are also, prompted by what others are saying. When Angwablai, for instance, say that, the North can keep the power, you don't expect people to keep quiet. What is fair is fair. You spoke about bridling of the tongue yesterday, and I'm saying that, look, it's on both sides. Yes, these rhetorics are very strong. They are very divisive. They are not doing anything to the fragile unity that we have, but it's there, and I'm serious. It's because of the kind of leadership that a lot of people think was not provided, and the failure in the leadership that is really, really right now fueling this agitation. People just want to try something new. They are pointing to the crisis that is associated not just with the region, but with the kind of leadership that the region has provided. Worried that maybe there was quality leadership and that all went well and that Buhari was some fantastic president. There will still be call for power shift, but maybe not with the same passion or in the same emotion and with the same violent cause. And you find that in some, I know of a state that is thinking of retaining power in one section, and people say, look, you didn't even provide us with quality leadership. So what are you talking about? Power must shift. So sometimes when people call for this power shift, is because they just feel that they were not handed something better, and so they need to try something new. So yes, these rhetorics are very loud. I mean, they are not helping the polity, the so-called fragile unity. But then it's crunch time, and people must have to use the harshest word they can find to call for what they want to call for. Of course, someone is going to have to caution that people watch their mouth, watch what they say, not to rock the boat. But the ACF is talking this way. I can assure you that the weekend will be full of some reaction to that. They're not flexing his muscle, saying that, look, you can't force us, you can't do this. This is not the first time the North has said this, and saying that, look, this should be on the basis of negotiation, give and take. Negotiate with us, come into some form of understanding with us, and we'll see what we can do. And basically, it's actually the work of the political parties to do this, to do these zonings, not really in the hands of regional power. It's the parties that will run for these elections and seek for for votes. But yes, the ACF is stepping into it, maybe because also PANDEF, the Middle Belt Forum, Ohaneze Ndigbo, Afenifere, every other sub-regional group, social-cultural group is talking about power. So they are weighing in and say, look, we can't be twisted, we can't be bamboozled, we can't be forced, we can't be just threatened or blackmailed into letting go power. Power can be taken, power must be taken, but it's not going to come via the kind of threats that we're hearing, or it has been hearing from other leaders, especially from the South.
Yes, Emmanuel. Maybe the call for power shift may not really be on the rhetoric that the North has not provided quality leadership. I think maybe it's on the basis of precedent of what we've been seeing going on in Nigeria, and I'll like to agree with Ndi on that. Talking about the North and not having provided quality or exemplary leadership and the insecurity in the North, there's insecurity everywhere in Nigeria, and that brings me to the Southeast. President Buhari is in Ebonyi State on a 2-day visit, inaugurating some projects in Ebonyi State. And now there's a story breaking on this day newspaper. UK makes U-turn, recognizes IPOB as terrorist group, and they've been excluded from asylum. We've been having this insecurity issue in the Southeast for a long time. I mean, on Mondays, no one goes out in the Southeast, and Fridays. It's quite ridiculous at this point. What's your take on that?
Well, I think the story itself captures it best when it said, the story captures it when it says it's a U-turn. And the question to ask is that what caused this U-turn? What has changed? Why is IPOB suddenly being recognized by the UK? Why do they think you can seek asylum if you think? In the past, asylum are for those who feel persecuted over the positions they are holding and all of that. Not, of course, to violent people who take to the street, murder. Everyone is still, we're still bristling with the murder of those the soldier couples, just innocent people who went home because they're wearing the Nigerian uniform and they got beheaded. Everyone is astonished. Everybody is sad over what's happened. And this seems to be symbolic of the sort of thing that you find in the Southeast. Again, crisis perpetrated by the IPOB. And for the UK to suddenly say, well, we can recognize people from here, it's almost as if they're giving some legitimacy to some of the things in Kechi that you raised just now. That happens almost every other Monday. You hear stories of people being attacked, they sit at home, nobody comes out, and the gangsterism that you have going on there. So this seems to have given it some kind of stamp of approval, some kind of legitimacy and understanding. So the IPOB, of course, will rejoice at this, but then in Kechi, the rest of us will wonder what has caused this. And I think in probing this story further, we must see what has changed. Is it that the IPOB has changed in its status? Is it that the UK was not well informed? What's really happened? These are the aspects that we need to build on as we go further and looking at the story.
Well, okay. Let me take two stories here. One, first of all, on the front page, we don't want to remain on newspaper. You can't miss it. The Amosu Declaration, where, of course, you had Governor of Ekiti State. Governor Kaide Fayemi attending. He even spoke there. You know, the numbers keep increasing. Amos is there. Today, Ono is going to do his own. And yesterday, Amechi picked his form. That's on the one side. Add that to the Nation newspaper saying that Abuja, Kaduna main service is set to resume. Have the T's been crossed and the I's dotted in terms of security, in terms of making sure that people are safe? I mean, and some other things. Those two, issues on the papers. Look at them.
On a personal note, I don't think I would take those train rides anymore. I used to have them, but for now, I don't think I've been sufficiently as a person. I don't think I'm sufficiently convinced, or any form of hope for security has been it's been boosted in my imagination to say that I would take those rights. But of course, they've learned from what has happened, and so maybe the authorities of the train stations will now know better what to do. But I can assure you that I'm not taking them for a very long time to come until at such a time that, and I think a lot of people will think that. So they are going to say dwindling in fortunes and even in revenues. Now, for those who are the number of people who are running for presidency, like one paper is reporting, I think this day is reporting that for many of them it is just bargaining chip, because it's amazing how everybody is coming up with 100 million naira and picking those forms. So some of them, and Adam Wabla had said in the past that the reason why the APC jacked up that price is so that they can differentiate between the pretenders or the jokers from the real contenders. But what you're saying now is almost like an all-comer event. Oshomole was supposed to run for Senate. He suddenly shifted it to the presidency.
He's still running.
And said, look,
he's still running. He says he's still running. He's still there. He didn't drop the phone when I was speaking with him.
Oh, he's going to run for both the
He
Senate,
says he's still
and
there.
then he's going to run.
But he's still on this one
Senate
for now, but he's still there.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Okay, well, so one basket sort of situation. But what you are saying, like somebody is reporting, is people trying to buy, a space on the, at the table. A situation where at the end of the day, this party might just bring everybody together and say, look, we know you bought a form, but we want to consider this candidate, and probably all of you should step down. And of course, we'll get you some juicy or chunky part of the presidency. So some people believe that those buying firms right now are just buying their way to that table of negotiation. This day is reporting that in one of the stories. So maybe that is what is really going on, because you can't even understand why some people want to run. They don't seem to have the gravitas, the connection, the basis. Even the numbers is not on their side. Fact is not on their side, and they want to run for president. So maybe it is true that they just want to buy their way to the negotiating table so that when there's some form of consensus arrangement, they will have something to bargain and to say, look, I also should be giving this juicy appointment or the other.
Well, like one of the presidential candidates said, Tinubu, the more the merrier. And we'll see how all this plays out. In less than 3 weeks, the INEC has reminded all parties that primaries must be done on or before June 3rd. Thank you so much, Emmanuel Bello, for joining us this morning. That's the press preview.